Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Stop Loss Investor. My name is Sai, and today we're looking at Square's ecosystem. So Square is an American financial services company that was created by Jack Dorsey, and it's gotten quite big recently. It's been growing quite tremendously, and offers a variety of services for small business owners. And they also have they actually have two different systems, one for the sellers and one for the everyday consumer. And so it'll be interesting to see how these ecosystems interact with each other and what the future holds for this company. And so essentially, the first, we're going to just have a look at Square. And there's three main points that I want to highlight with Square seller side of things. So this is the sellers things where the small business owners use Square's point of sale and other things that they can use, other services that they offer, such as we can see there that they have dashboard and analytics, point of sale, marketing, business loans, and payroll. And the 3 points that I want to highlight is that they currently roughly have 3 million businesses using Square, and their hardware is available at 14,000 retail stores. And they also have the ability to develop or give third-party developers to build apps within their software systems to kind of integrate their personal use cases, and that can be used by other software, other stores essentially. So I could have a store, I could create my own point of sale system that's easy for me to use, and then basically I can create an API and I can put it on the marketplace, and from there other sellers can use my API to develop their own or use it for their services. So that's a very interesting feature that they added, which is I think unique in and of itself and create the market opportunity there. So essentially, I want to talk about here is that fact that Square has a small base so far, but they're very well integrated with that small base as it becomes their operating system essentially, which is something I like to look at in businesses. I like it when businesses essentially they don't just give you a service; they give you an operating system to run off of. So it's very hard um, for the customer or the seller to kind of use other use cases. So from the investor standpoint, I find that very attractive from Square. And we can see that they also give you dashboard and analytics, so you can kind of run analytics regarding your products and like see how maybe certain employees are doing and other things of that nature, and just kind of understand how your business is growing and where you can improve, where you can improve essentially. And that can also lead to this customer engagement and management, where you can, if you're a maybe a personal trainer or maybe a small retail store, um, hair salon, things of that nature, which is basically Square's customer base, just these small businesses that they engage with, and they have a unique look into the customer. So if I go into a big retail chain, I'm just not the person working there. But if I go into my local barber, I'm a I'm a kind of like uh, a usual customer there, and they know me, and they kind of we have our own relationships, and I don't go to anywhere else to get my haircut. So these kind of relationships can build and they can grow for businesses, and they can really offer kind of a different level of engagement with their customers. And another vertical that they have is essentially for small businesses, the ability to offer these business loans where you can get personal loans where they give you access. So depending on how your business is running and how you're doing, they offer you a loan and to kind of get your business to go even further. And they more or less take the uh, the repayments out of the revenues that you generate. So if you generate $1,000, I think it's roughly 16%. I think is what they take off these business loans. So that's $160. And let's say the next day you don't do any sales, then they don't take any money. So they kind of offer this really friendly way to look at business loans, and kind of more focused on just helping you build your businesses. And they also have marketing, which is very unique. for such a franchise to, or for such a company to offer. And other than that, they also use payroll. So it's very much a round system where you can't really, they covered all the bases in terms of what you're looking for from a business standpoint. You don't need like 5, 6 different software. Because I remember like running a small business. Um, I used to run a small business with my brother, and there was a point of sale system. There was a analytics system at the back. There's a database management system, and then you also have on top like a different bank account card. And they've also, if you want loans, you go somewhere else. And if you want to do marketing, you go to another service. That's 5, 6 different services, and also payroll is another service on top. So all these different things kind of come into Square, which offers a really good insights, not only to the company, but also to Square to kind of understand where they can help businesses move forward. So that's a really unique opportunity there in and of itself. And as I said, the third party developer software. So I think going forward, something that could be in the works is a app marketplace, which they already have, but they can make it so uh, users can. So if you're a seller, you can use a particular app which is on the marketplace, which another seller uses, like they created it by themselves and they use it for their services, and you can use it for a subscription service. So you can use it for maybe $10 a month, a point of sale system that someone else created, that's maybe more to your needs, not something that Square has available. So like Square could have its own little basics marketing service, basic point of sale service, basic analytics service that they offer, and then on top of that, you can go into this app marketplace where there's third party developers, where they can give you these analytics service, like maybe a company uh, who could be like like there's Google Analytics, so you could probably set up Google Analytics within Square, or like any other small third party service. They can develop our own software, and you can use that software at a like a $10 a month service fee, and from there Square can take maybe 5% of that, so they'll be taking like 50 cents for $10. And so that's something that they can do. So that's obviously that's future down the line. Right now it's more or less just letting everyone kind of engage and more or less give everything out for free and offer a flat fee for their services. So there's really a strong vertical integration there, and also the ability for Square to become more or less like a Amazon in a sense, where they could, like, this is just me thinking out loud, for what Square can do. Most of the stuff is pretty edged in. I mean, Square's been around for 9, 10 years, um, and there's been a lot of review into the company. A lot of It's a big growth story, but they still have a lot of room to grow and a lot of different things that they can implement very easily. But I think right now they're just trying to integrate, let customers in, then they can build a then into their ecosystem as customers start using it more, becoming more like, as you offer them these basic services, then you can offer these peripheral services on top, which can make it basically they don't have to leave anymore. They can just stay on the platform and they can use all your services on the platform, or all the services they need can be on the platform itself. So like another idea that Square could do in the future could be have like a um, seller marketplace, where not only do sellers use Square, but as a customer, I can go on like a Square dot marketplace, like I don't know, for a website name, and then from there I can see a list of Square sellers in my region, and then I could buy something from them, and I can just go pick that up. So like I could buy um, maybe a pair of sunglasses from a small retail store down the street, maybe not down the street, but like somewhere, and that order could go from the Square marketplace to that retail place, and they could deliver that to me. Like they can do their normal delivery service to me, and but like they go through the Square marketplace. Like I don't have to go through Google and try and find them and then go from there. I could just go to Square Marketplace, find all the sellers there, find the product that I need, and then the seller will fulfill that for me. So that's a really unique thing that they could do. That's kind of like Amazon, that they can build. But the thing is, Amazon, Amazon more or less offers the same services, but Square does it more. They are more like a financial services company, whilst Amazon works on a retail space, um, kind of company. So like Amazon's more retail, while Square is more financial services. So that's something unique that Square could do, on the seller side of things. And now this is just one ecosystem that they can roll these features out onto, or there's these, verticals that they can go into to grow further. Right now, they're only, as I said, only 3 million, businesses, and that's only, I believe that's a worldwide number. Not too sure. This is an exact number that I found on their, quarterly revenues. They said that. Let's try and find it. So just looking here, um, you can see that on slide 7 they had these businesses. So if I go to 7, so they more or less the ecosystem that they're trying to build is this. So 20 million businesses. That's in the US, by the way. So 20 million businesses that they've, got from the 2012 census. So that's 8 years ago. So I mean, I would think that would have grown, doubled by now. Maybe not doubled, but it would be very high by now. I mean, it's been a long time since they've got these numbers, and this is in their recent June 2020, um, presentation. So they basically have, say, 20 million, businesses, 6 trillion receipts, $6 trillion worth of receipts, and they have estimated a total value of $85 billion plus for US total market, addressable market, and that was in 2012. Now, if you go down here, basically they say businesses in the US is based on employer and non-employer firms with less than 100 million in gross annual receipts in select industry verticals based on 2012 US census data. Businesses also assumes a 3% share for Square of the estimated number of informal economy businesses based on estimated US volume, yada yada yada. So basically, so out of 20 million, Square assumes, 3 million. Sorry, 3%. So if we get 20 multiplied by 0.03, it's 10. Um, hmm. Okay, so that's actually 600,000 businesses. Not bad. It's a good thing I did that. um, so actually, I'm going to change that to being 600,000 by their estimates in 2012. 2012 estimates by the 2012 number estimates for businesses. So Square assumes 3% of that. So it's quite a small number of in the total US market. As you can see, they still have a long way to go, and they're only available at 14,000 retail stores. Um, so that's just the seller side of things. And by the way, these businesses are just your everyday, uh, businesses, like maybe like a coffee shop or like, barber shop. So they're very small businesses. They're not, selling a lot. Most of their sellers are between 125 thousand, yearly revenues. So, but from there we go on to the Cash App side of things, and Cash App is a whole nother world for Square and a whole nother revenue generator, and it's going quite quickly, to be honest. So right now they have more than 30 million monthly customers transacting 15 times per month on average. So transacting can include sending, receiving money, donating money, um, paying with their cash card or boosting on different networks, and also to invest and buy Bitcoin and other things like that. And more than 7 million cash card activities, up 50% year over year, transacting multiple times per week on average. So that's just their own little Visa card, debit card that they have available there. So whenever you receive a payments from I don't know, a friend or something like that, and you can just use it on the card. You can just pay for things, or you can boost it with other services that they have available there. We can see in the picture there that they have PlayStation Network, so you can just, and that's basically with Boost, it gives you incentives to buy with certain networks. So yeah, instant discount at that work at places where you want to spend, such as PlayStation. Um, so that's something that you can do, and you can also obviously buy stocks and invest in Bitcoin. Um, those are the main. Bitcoin's kind of the main generator of revenue at the moment for Cash App, but most of it's free. They're trying to build a big ecosystem there. So they started with peer to peer. They went from Cash Card on Boost. So not only can you send and receive money from your friends, now you can use that money at different places. You can use it to pay for stuff. And then from there, they went to direct deposit. And then so you can get money straight from your paycheck into the cash card. And then you can just start paying it. So essentially, you don't go out of Cash App. And the main thing that they're trying to do is they build another ecosystem there. That's essentially what they're trying to do. Kind of build this funneling effect where you can buy stocks, you can buy Bitcoin, you can send money to people, you can bank there, you can receive your tax returns there, you can get deposits from your paychecks there. It's essentially becomes your bank balance, and this is something that's a bigger thing that they're creating with their their Square Capital. Then they have their Square Financial Services, which is a bank that they're opening in Utah, which is happening next year. They're building a bank, and they've already got approved for that. So they're going to do that next year, and so we can really see this ecosystem generating there, where they have these kind of services that they give you, small services, peer to peer, things that most other like PayPal's Venmo, many other services that you can use. Where you can just send money across to people. Some of the major banks also use this as well, where you can use your mobile pay ID, so you can just pay people. So that's something that's easier to do. But um, so Square has made this really easy with Cash App, and essentially you don't have to go anywhere. So right now, personally for me, I do my banking on one particular app, my investing on another app, my paying at stores on another app. I send and receive money on another app. So that's four different apps that I use. And if I have the Cash App, I just have one. So that's essentially the easier thing that they can give you, where and because most of these things you don't need to have frankly, you don't need to have the Cash App to use the Cash App. Like I can use Cash App and I can just pay anyone with anything. So that's a great thing that you have there. So as long as you have the QR code as I have there, you can just pay them, or and you can have a cash tag and you can get paid. So I could be like a musician, and if someone wants to pay me, I can just give them my cash tag, and they can pay me. So this is something that's really unique with Cash App, and that's they're really building a massive ecosystem here, not just in terms of Cash App, but when you move this over to the Square um, uh, seller side of things, we have this kind of ecosystem where they running an ecosystem for the businesses, where they have all these services that they offer for businesses, and then from there they also offer services for customers, like everyday users. So like a general user can just direct deposit and, as I said, boost, and they can buy stocks. And then you could potentially give incentives for them to use Cash App to pay for stuff at the seller's ecosystem. So not only are they developing, so with Cash App, like you have all these alternative services that you use it for, and then they go, you can get 5% off a sandwich at this restaurant that uses Square as their payments terminal and their point of sale systems, and then that's their seller. So they can say you can get 5% off from the Cash App. So if you have a Cash App and you buy at a Square sellers restaurant, then you can get 5% off. So that's something that they can do. That's something that they've actually talked about in their recent Q3, where they said that they're kind of pulling at this thread where they launched Square Card by incentivizing Square merchants to swap to shop at other Square merchants. So the Square Card there, you can use the Square Card for business transactions, and you can more or less buy and sell for businesses, and it offers a kind of easy way to do that. But we can use it for Cash App as well, where as a Cash App customer, I can buy stocks there, I can receive paychecks. The only thing is I won't get interest on my money, but I don't think anyone really cares about that when interest rates are so low. So they're more or less looking to invest. So Bitcoin and stocks are great, and everyone's going to use it for that. And Bitcoin is a major revenue generator for Cash App, and that's the main thing there. And so people kind of have this incentive to use Cash App. Like for me personally, I currently don't have any way of buying Bitcoin other than like general investing platforms where I have to sign up and do all these other things and whatnot to buy Bitcoin. But then I have to buy, if I want to buy stocks, I got to go to another platform. Then if I got to do like CFDs and other things, I got to go to another platform. And then that's just, 3 different things that I can want to do. And then there's also, if I want a direct deposit and a cash card, that's different things again. And if I want to get discounts, I got to have this other different account because my bank's not going to offer it. Some other third-party services offering these discounts. So I got to set up an account with them. So that's like 5 different accounts again. So they're really trying to grow this kind of ecosystem with Cash App and on the seller side of things as well, and kind of merge them together so you have an incentive to not leave Square's ecosystem, essentially. So you use Cash App to buy stocks, and then you buy a sandwich at a seller's place who uses Cash App, who uses Square ecosystem as a point of sale system and whatnot. So you're more or less immersed in this kind of Square's economic activity. You can't really go outside of it. They offer everything there, so there's no point in going anywhere else. So that's something I really love with businesses when they do that. They have this kind of network effects that builds on top of network effects. Like Amazon does the same thing, Google does the same thing, Apple does the exact same thing, except not on the seller side of things. And that's just the things that they're already doing right now. So they could easily go from there. And as I said, they could develop a marketplace where they can get revenues from that side of things. They can have this Square for retail and set up a Square marketplace where they can get revenues from those side of things. And this is all down the line. And they haven't even reached 100 million in terms of users. They're currently at 30 million active users. So they have a long way to go. And 30 million is, I think, around 9% of the US population. So if we take it outside of US and maybe go to Europe, maybe go to India, I think Square will do great in India. It's kind of offers a service where you kind of don't need cash anymore. And it kind of really puts everyone on a level playing field in places like India and Africa. And then, people, they can hopefully come to Australia so I can use it. But yeah, they offer all of these services which is quite unique and hard to get out of. And they have this e-commerce ecosystem that they're building. And there's so many levers that they can pull to kind of generate revenues. But right now they're offering flat fees, and they're more or less covering all. They're generating profit, and then they're using that profit as an operational expenses to develop other platforms on top of it, and to kind of develop their cash app. These innovations are far from over from, especially if, like, from someone like Jack Dorsey, was very much a forward thinker. So it'll be great to see where they go from there. Um, so I essentially want to give you some few quotes from the third quarter investor call. So basically, they said that they're currently focused on providing sellers with fast and flexible access to their funds, which has proven to be especially important this year with COVID. So Square Card, that their business debit card, which they launched last year, provides sellers a way to immediately access and spend earned funds without setting up a bank account. Adoption of Square Card has increased each quarter since launch, and in the third quarter, sellers spent more than $250 million on their cards. They also work to provide employees easier access to their funds. In the third quarter, they launched two new features for Square Payroll: instant payments and on-demand pay. So instant payments allows Square Payroll merchants to pay employees using earned funds next business day with direct deposits, or instantly when employees use Cash App. There we go. There's that ecosystem that they're building there, where they incentivize the seller ecosystem and their employees to use Cash App. And once they start using Cash App, they're gonna want to use these other services. And obviously, with Cash App, they can just pay for the services with the Cash Card. So that's something unique that they're doing there. So if I'm an employee working for a merchant who's uses Square Payroll, it just makes sense for me to use a Cash App. And so moving on with that, so on-demand pay gives employees a new way to get their compensation faster by transferring up to $200 of earned wages per pay period into their Cash App account. This strengthens the integration between our seller and Cash App ecosystem, and is a great example of what we can do when we connect two ecosystems together. So yeah, that's the key thing there. That's just a start of something that they're doing there. So that's really awesome to see. And another quote there is they're seeing sellers use Square Card for everyday expenses like gas station and discount retailers, and they're in inventory. So they're watching very closely the patterns in terms of how people are using it, where Square can improve it, and where they can build on top of the card and adjacent to the card. But there is a day in this use of case cash flow mantra of enabling faster access to funds is very rich for us. That's being Square, and they will come in many manifestations, and Square Card is just one of them, one of the latest, and definitely excited about the performance recently. So that's something that they said in their third quarter call. And a few other things is that uh, essentially with these ecosystems, money flows into the platform, but businesses deposit those funds into their bank accounts outside the ecosystem. So that's kind of what they don't want to happen. That's why I think they're trying to build that bank, which is going to open next year. So once they build that bank, they're going to just keep everyone in this ecosystem, and they can buy and sell everything anytime, anywhere within this ecosystem. And this is very fast, by the way. Like, I don't think they have that many people yet. So they don't really have that mass scale that they're looking for in terms of sellers and Cash App users. But once they start growing, and I think this is something where we can see the full scale of what Square and Cash App can do probably in 2025, where they kind of increase their seller ecosystems once we kind of go out of this pandemic. Um, but essentially, what they're trying to do is the ability to keep these deposits within the ecosystem ensures that users remain inside as they manage money, accept payments, make payments to their own vendors, and so on and so forth. So that's something what they're trying to do, where they can pay vendors through Square Card, and then they can use Cash App to buy stocks. That's something that they can easily do. I think that's something they haven't enabled at the moment. Um, but that's something that's obviously that's can come into the future, which will add more greater flexibility for sellers, and more incentives for the seller to use Cash App alongside their Square seller ecosystem. And So yeah, so that's something they're kind of trying to do, and I think they're more or less with their cash card, they're kind of pulling away from. So they've pulled away from the banks. That's what they're trying to do right now. So with once they create their own bank, um, uh, basically users don't need to kind of move out of this ecosystem. They don't need to direct deposit, instant deposit any funds or anything like that. They can, if they cash out, they're going to just cash out into their Square bank account, which is so that's pointless. So they're not going to cash out. So they're going to keep their money inside the Square ecosystem. So that's the first thing. They're going to move banks out of the equation in terms of revenue, and then slowly but surely they're going to. I think they're going to move uh, Visa and Mastercard and American Express and all these other payment systems, payment gatekeepers, basically these highways, payment highways. That's what basically Visa and Mastercard do. They kind of add this layer of communication between your bank account and the money and a few other things that they do, which is kind of complicated. But if Square can manage to kind of do that with their cash card, where it's kind of linked to this like much like American Express, if they link it to Square cash card, you won't be moving out of the system anymore. You more or less use Square Bank to do your banking, use Square Capital to get the loans, which is facilitated by machine learning, so which is kind of reduces loan losses from Square's point of view. And then you have e-commerce where you can set up a website with Square, and then you have payroll where you can pay your employees, and you have the Square card to kind of fund your business expenses, and the money from that Square card comes from your Square bank account, which is Square Bank, which is something that they would earn. Uh, Basically, they more or less work like a bank in that sense, and then they can pay. Like that's one side of things, and then you have the Cash App side of things, where you basically don't need to use Square Capital or like sorry Square Bank, but it'd be there'll be I'm sure they'll kind of give you some sort of incentives to set up a bank with Square. So that's something that's unique to see, and it's kind of important to kind of have these two ecosystems kind of merge over time. But right now the main point is that they have, besides the three verticals that they're using right now with regards to like Bitcoin stocks and the cash card on the Cash App side of things, and with the sellers where they have the developer platform, the Square card to kind of and the Square Capital to kind of like fund these expenses for sellers, and obviously all the other peripheral services that they offer like customer engagement, payroll, invoices, and other things. Um, that's something that they're doing right now, so they can move away from that and create these higher level ecosystems where they can have this marketplace where you can go and buy things off Square merchants, and or you can have this developer marketplace where you can as a developer you can go and buy develop with Square. So it'll be like a Google Play Store but Square Play Store or Square Store. But yeah, so that's something that's looking at. I think that's something that is really unique and significant for Square. And right now they're at the start of their runaway. Essentially, they're only they're not haven't even reached 100 million users yet. And I think once they start reaching these scale levels, they can really start to monetize and really maybe even like set up like a flat fee on certain services, and that will generate the revenues that they need to kind of be a more profitable player. Right now they are profitable, and most of their expenses goes into just building the business. So that's the great thing that we're seeing there. But essentially that's the idea with Square, and they have a long way to go from here. And right now, I believe just looking at what the potential of this Cash App is, and what the potential of the seller side of things is, and on the Cash App side of things, like they can more or less put out of business like a lot of companies like the moment that they offer users to buy full shares of stocks, and kind of get this like full ownership. Like I'm not too sure because right now they give you fractional shares. They say you can buy as little as $1. So I'm kind of sketchy about that. But if they move forward and just say you can actually buy full shares of stock, you can own the stock. Um, that'll be very important to see. And once I think from next year onwards, once they have the bank kind of set up, this ecosystem set up with a bank, we can see massive growth for Square from there, and a lot of different areas that they can go into and kind of develop their sellers ecosystem and their Cash App ecosystem. Um, but yeah, right now I think they're very much undervalued. I know that like if you look at just by the numbers side of things, that they look pretty overvalued. They currently I think have a PE ratio of 300, but they're just they're at the starting phase of their growth. Cash App hasn't even been monetized basically yet. They only monetize essentially the Bitcoin revenues and any revenues in terms of like instant deposits and other things like that, but not a transaction basis. Um, the transaction basis revenue is only for credit cards. So if you're using a debit card, it's free. So that's a key thing there. They're just trying to get customers in, kind of use them, let them use this Cash App ecosystem, and then over time, as they get more sellers and as they sellers kind of develop a bit more, they get maybe 1 million, 2 million, 3 million sellers onto the system, and basically grow their revenue base as well. That's the kind of the main idea of Square. They're trying to kind of make the small business, the underserved, underbanked, kind of give this kind of leg up with Square Capital. And they're trying to kind of merge these two ecosystems together, and that's when we'll see the full extent of what Square can do. And this is all just in the US as well, so they haven't even really gone into the bigger ecosystems like Europe and like India or maybe even Africa. So they haven't really capitalized on that yet. They're very much focused on like building. It's very easy to implement kind of certain products when it comes to like a small geographic or like a demographic. You kind of test different things out. So I think that's why they're not looking to really grow as fast as they can grow. They're just looking to just kind of implement different things, see how they go, kind of get those revenues up, use sales and marketing to kind of grow their customer base, but use most of their revenues kind of to implement different things into their seller ecosystem and their Cash App ecosystem, or roll out new features, roll out new incentives for people to get on board, and then they can just move out to into the broader like the economics of the world to kind of dominate banking in different countries and whatnot. So they're very much at the start of their growth phase, and in my next video on Square, I'm going to look at more on the numbers side of things and see whether it's valid, whether buying it now is a good idea, or like where I see the company to go in the next 5 years, 10 years. This is just more of the long-term outlook of what Square can do in terms of what they offer as a company, and just the incentives that they have for customers to get on with Square, and how they're trying to like grow their ecosystems, and how once you go into the ecosystem, it's very hard to come out of it. Um, like if I personally, I use 5 different apps to do what the Cash App does. So the moment the Cash App is available in my country, I'm gonna just start using it. I'm not gonna use any other app. I'm just gonna transfer all my funds into Cash App and just that's done. I think once they have Square Banking, I'll just move to that bank account as well. We'll just make it so much easier for me. And the moment I become, if I'm a small business owner, it'll just make sense for me to use Square seller ecosystem as well. Um, so they offer a lot of different services, and it's very easy to see how once you get into the ecosystem, it's hard to come out. Much like how Amazon does it, as I said before, much like how Microsoft, Google, or a company that more or less like even a company such as Palantir, where they, even though we haven't really seen much of it, as it's a really secretive company, but these companies kind of more focus on, rather than creating this service and being really good at the service, Square kind of like offers an array of services, and they go just kind of grab your kind of like give you more value than you need. And then from there, you don't really want to go anywhere else. Like if I like for payroll, invoices, customer engagement, marketing, you're not going to use any other service anymore. You're just going to use Square. And the moment that they start developing that and making it more useful to the sellers, it's going to be kind of pointless to go anywhere else to use that service. So that's kind of the main idea that they're trying to build right now. And in the next video, I'm going to go over the numbers side of things, see on an operational basis how they're doing, whether it's a buy right now, where I see it 5 years from now, and what we would need to see in terms of their revenues and in terms of their cost of revenues to see what they how they're going to go into the future. So with that being said, I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for listening. And if you have any comments about Square or what they do, please leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video.